let's talk about something that pretty much all of us have to deal with at some point. A major disagreement. Whether it's in a business, a community, or even right in your own family, conflict can be absolutely draining. But what if there was a better way to handle it? A way that avoids a long, messy, and public court battle? Well, there is. And today we're going to dive into a powerful alternative that puts you back in the driver's seat.
I mean, when you're stuck in the middle of a serious dispute, it just feels impossible, right? Like there are no good options. The stress of it all, the financial strain, the complete uncertainty, it's just this heavy weight. And the idea of going to court, that usually just makes everything feel 100 times worse.
But here's the good news. You don't have to hand over all your power to a judge and just hope for the best. There is another way, a path that actually lets you and the other person find a solution together on your own terms. That path is called mediation. And in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly what it is, how it works, and how you can make it work for you.
So here's our game plan. We'll start by talking about what makes mediation such a different approach. Then we'll walk through the process itself. After that, we'll put it head-to-head with the court system so you can see the real differences. We'll also cover what makes a mediator truly effective. And finally, we'll give you a practical guide for finding the right one. Sound good? Let's get started.
So, what is this different path we keep talking about? Well, at its heart, it's a way of looking at conflict that completely flips the script. See, instead of gearing up for a fight, it's all about communication and, believe it or not, collaboration. It's a huge shift from drawing battle lines to actually trying to find some common ground.
Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. What you see here is the official definition, but the key word, the one that changes everything, is neutral. In mediation, this third party isn't a judge who's going to tell you what to do. Nope, they're a facilitator. Their job is to create a safe space for a real conversation. And because they don't take sides, everyone can kind of lower their guard. But here's the most important part. The final decision-making power, that stays with you. It's your agreement, your solution.
One of the best things about mediation is that it's not some rigid, one-size-fits-all formula. It's incredibly flexible. The process can be tailored to fit exactly what's needed, whether we're talking about a family going through a tough divorce, business partners fighting over a contract, or even just neighbors who can't see eye to eye.
The best way to think about mediation is as a structured, totally confidential conversation. The whole goal is to get past the angry demands, the "I want this," and to dig down to the why. What do you really need? What's actually important here? Getting to that level is a total game changer. It stops being a battle over who's right and turns into a search for a real practical solution that everyone can live with. Now, to really appreciate what makes mediation so different, you've got to see it next to the alternatives. So let's do a direct side-by-side comparison with the traditional courtroom system. This table lays it all out so clearly. Just look at that first row, decision maker. In litigation, that's your typical court case, a judge or jury decides your fate. In arbitration, it's a neutral third party, but they still make a binding call. But look at mediation. The parties themselves are the decision makers. You are. And notice the privacy, too. Litigation is a public record for anyone to see, but mediation, totally, completely confidential. And all those differences lead to these incredible benefits. That first point, you control the final outcome, is so much more than just a detail. It's a psychological game changer. When you have a say, you're not just a passenger anymore. You're actively building your own solution. And that usually leads to better, more creative agreements than a court could ever order. On top of that, it's almost always faster and cheaper. And because it's private, it can help save important relationships that a public court battle would just destroy. Of course, the whole process really hinges on the person who's guiding it, right? A great mediator is way more than just a referee. Their skill, their training, that's the secret sauce that makes a resolution possible. So let's break down what you should actually be looking for. Okay, these are the essentials. That formal, state-approved training, it's not just a piece of paper. It means they have proven techniques to manage tense situations and keep the conversation on track. Certifications show they're committed to being fair and impartial, which is the foundation of trust. And experience with disputes like yours is huge. It means they already know the typical sticking points. And while they're not there to be your lawyer, having a legal background can be really valuable for understanding the big picture. To make this all feel a bit more real, let's look at an example of what this all looks like in practice. Think of this less as an ad and more as a case study showing how these qualifications actually come together to make a real difference for people in a really tough situation. And this says it all, doesn't it?
When a former client says their mediator helped them fix our issues and keep our company together, well, that's the end result of all those qualifications in action. That's what happens when trust is built, when a calm presence lowers the temperature in the room, and when experience guides people towards a solution. It's about saving so much more than just a business deal. It's about saving the relationship behind it.
Okay, so maybe you're thinking, this sounds like the right path for me. Great, but now what? How do you actually find the person who can help guide you through it? Well, this last section is your practical action plan.
It's a pretty straightforward 4-step process. First, do your homework. Look up online directories and, just as importantly, ask people you trust for referrals. Once you have a few names, make a shortlist and check out their reviews. Most mediators offer a free initial chat. Definitely take them up on that. And finally, after you've talked to them, just trust your gut. You need to feel comfortable with this person. And when you have that first consultation, here are the key questions you need to ask. Be direct about it. Ask about their training and experience with situations just like yours. Have them walk you through what their process looks like. And this one's important. Ask how they handle it when things get heated. And of course, get crystal clear on their fees and what a final agreement will actually look like. Asking these things up front can save you a lot of headaches down the road.
So we'll end with this thought. When you're facing a conflict that just seems impossible, maybe the answer isn't a bigger fight. Maybe the answer lies in a structured, private, and guided conversation. Could a conversation solve what a courtroom simply can't? It's a powerful question to think about, and it might just change everything. Thanks so much for watching.